So he'd managed to ignore all of it. But they were clever enough to bait him with just the right words. And they said, look, the Huffington Post comes out and writes this. They said that the mild reaction of Britons to this explosion of racism was to be expected since they were the heirs of racist colonists. And what was truly unforgivable was Harry's silence. So he's complicit in all this racism if he doesn't say something. And of course we know that Harry had been called a vicious racist in his youth when he had, according to him, unwittingly used a racial slur. So now he's got to find some way to prove, I'm not a racist. And they've baited him, and he has taken the bait because he doesn't believe he's not one. If you are not a racist, what does it matter if somebody calls you that? I'm not one. I'm not. But the problem is he'd already been, smeared with that brush. He'd done things and said things that didn't make it seem as though he wasn't. So now he's got to go on this big campaign to rid himself of this title yet again. And then then he's like, well, that's it. I'm not waiting one more second. I don't care what anyone says. I'm writing a statement. Jason, write something up. So Jason writes a strong, precise, angry, and honest note to the press. And then he lets Jason release it. Well, this didn't go over very well. He says that Pa and Willie were outraged, furious, and they gave him an absolute earful. They said that his statement made them look bad. Both of them, they said. Why in hell would it make you look bad? I'm just standing up for my girlfriend. And they said it's because they had never put out a statement for their girlfriends or wives when they were being harassed. Now, we know that Catherine took quite a few punches in the press. People made fun of her relentlessly. And, of course, Camilla had been dragged for years. And nobody ever said anything. And it had nothing to do with them not caring. It's that they were above commenting on it. What are you going to bother with what a couple of mosquitoes are buzzing about? Why would you even waste any of your precious time on earth caring about what people who want to say mean things about you say? They want to say mean things. You could cure cancer, raise people from the dead, solve everybody's personal problems on earth. They would crucify you. Okay? There are just people in this world who want to hate you. And they will find any reason to hate you. So why would you dignify all of their petty foolishness with any of your time? It is such a mark of immaturity when you have to care what your naysayers say. Haters gonna hate. I mean, get on with it. He can't manage it. So, and this is the part where I just thought, dude, you need a personality transplant because something is wrong with the way that you go through life. He says that after his argument with Pa and Willie, in which they said, well, how could you do this? We never put out a statement for our wives and girlfriends. Why can't you just play by the family rules? Just don't say anything to the press. He says that he left that meeting to go pick up Meg because she was coming back to England for a visit. And they went to Frogmore Gardens, but this visit was nothing like the peace that they had once known. He said that it was the complete opposite. Instead of walking around Frogmore Gardens or sitting in his kitchen talking dreamily about the future or just getting to know each other, now they were stressed out. They were meeting with lawyers. They were searching for ways to combat this madness. Why though? And this is the thing that I thought, dude, when she asked you to protect her, there was a clear mission for you, okay? And the assignment was obvious. But instead of protecting her, he is like smearing this mess all over her. He says that as a rule, Meg didn't look at the internet. She wanted to protect herself, to keep that poison out of her brain. Smart, but it's not sustainable if we're gonna wage a battle for her reputation and physical safety. What kind of a bogus idea is that? Don't look at the lies, but then how are you gonna know what to say when you need to combat the lies? You gotta know what the lies are. You gotta know. How do you go into a debate if you don't know the other side of the argument? So he insists that she listen to him, read to her all of these rumors. He says, I needed to know exactly what was fact and what was false. And that meant asking her every few hours about something else that appeared online. What a way to ruin your relationship. It's like, so your idea of protecting her from this is to smear this mess all over her? I mean, what kind of a definition of protection is this? Wouldn't he just be like, look, let's just make a pact. They're going to write a bunch of trash about us, okay? They're going to say things about you that aren't true. They're going to say stuff about me that's not true. I'm choosing to believe what you say to me is truth, and I don't really care what they say, okay? You don't look, I won't look. Let's hold each other to that standard. It might be tempting to look. It's only going to hurt us. Let's just move on, okay? Let's go about our business best we can. Why would you let this consume you and wreck your relationship? But he wants you to know that despite the mounting stress and the terrible pressure, they managed to protect their essential bond, never snapping at each other during those days. And as we came to the final hours of our visit, we were solid, happy, and Meg announced she wanted to make me a special goodbye lunch. All right, you guys, I'm just going to tell you this right now. Take a seat, buckle up. This is the beginning of the outrageously stupid stories that are coming our way. If stupidities and lies get on your nerves, I don't know if you're going to make it through the rest of this video, okay? Because this is so dumb. Okay, so she insists that she wants to make a goodbye lunch. So he's got an engagement to attend to. So she's like, okay, well, while you're gone, I'm going to cook for you. So he tells her there's a Whole Foods close by, and so she heads that way. And it's close enough that she can walk, right? It's massive. She can't miss it. He gives her directions. She goes. He told her to wear a baseball cap and a big jacket and, you know, just go in the side gate and nobody will notice that she's there. He promises her that she'll be fine. All right. But when he gets home 2 hours later, there she is on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. She could barely get off the floor or tell him what was happening. Wait, what happened? What happened? Start from the beginning. What in the world happened? And she said that she had dressed as he advised, and she'd run happily, anonymously up and down the supermarket aisles. But as she rode an escalator, a man approached her. And this is where the story starts unraveling, like at lightning speed. Excuse me, do you know where the exit is? Oh yes, I think it's just right up there that way. Hey, you're on that program. Suits, am I right? My wife loves you. Oh, that's so nice, thanks. What's your name? Jeff. Nice to meet you, Jeff. Please tell her I said thanks for watching. I will. Can I get a picture? For my mom? I thought you said it was your wife. Yeah. It is. Sorry, I'm just grocery shopping today. And then apparently the guy's face changed, and then he's like, well, if I can't take a picture with you, I'm just going to take pictures of you. And he runs around the store with his camera out, following her, taking pictures. And then she gets up to the register, and then there's all these magazines that are laid out with her face on them, and then everybody starts taking pictures, and the cashiers are laughing at her, and everybody in the whole place. It's like the scene from Carrie. And she says that, you know, she's just trying to get out of there as fast as she can, and then she's trying to hustle out of the store and with her little bags and you know, she's just fumbling out of the store with her little purchases, and she's running down the road, and there's people running after her, and there's paparazzi. And then when she gets to Kensington Palace, she can't get through the gates because there's some kind of stupid royal parade going on, and she's over there just juggling her groceries and trying to get back into the palace. And there's men chasing her, and she doesn't know, and she's screaming, and they're screaming, and it's like this entire ridiculous scene. So there they are, you know, she's on the floor weeping. Harry's holding her, rocking her back and forth. And then listen to this. When she finally got inside Not Caught, she'd phoned her best girlfriends, each of whom asked, is he worth this, Meg? Is anyone worth this? And I am just astounded that if that were the case, if you finally busted back up into the house, locked all the doors, you'd finally found some safety, you'd called your friends, you know, all your friends, one after another, listen to what just happened to me, listen to what just happened to me. And they're all counseling you to leave the guy. I just can't believe that you would tell him that part. Like, it just seems to me that if you're still in it, if you still want this guy, and you know that being with him, and first of all, that story didn't even happen, but say like it did. If you really want this guy, why are you telling him things that are designed solely to hurt him and make him feel like he hasn't lived up to your expectations? Like, remember, she says you need to protect me. So now she wants to prove to him you haven't. So she's continuing with that power play. I set this standard, you have failed me, and all my friends think you failed me. I don't see the positive momentum you have in your relationship by degrading the other person, by saying, hey, I called all my friends and they think that you know, this sucks, you suck, and I should leave. Why are you telling him that? That's what your friend thought. Do you think that? You know? And it just seems like it's designed to hurt him, to make him feel like he's failed, to let him know, I set this standard and you aren't meeting the standard. I just wouldn't. I'm not saying she couldn't have called her friends and said, the wildest thing just happened and this is weird. But then I wouldn't relay that to my partner. I wouldn't tell him everyone thinks that this is terrible and you're not worth it. Because all he's going to hear is, and I don't think you're worth it either. I don't know. Anyway, but the crazy thing, even after that, is that he says that as he held her and rocked her back and forth on the floor, he began to smell the most delicious smells. Hang on. You mean, after all that, you still made lunch? Oh, what? I wanted to feed you before you left. Oh, what a little victim. Oh, what a sad, sad little victim. But she soldiered on and cooked anyway. You guys. I can't.